Hello there, and welcome to the Rogue Podcast, a Star Wars show. Today you got myself, David,
Hello there.
and John. And we're going to be discussing the two most recent episodes of
Oh yeah.
Andor, episodes 7 and 8. We missed a review. I had a baby last week, a little busy.
No biggie.
So,
Yeah,
got
minor details.
a new youngling into the
I've heard.
fold. A funny thing, I've already called her Ahsoka by accident. Is when we were watching Tales of the Jedi and that baby Ahsoka was there, I leaned over to my wife and said, "Hey, hand me Ahsoka. I mean Arya." So I accidentally called her Ahsoka, but it is what it is. But anyways, Andor episodes 7 and 8. So where we last left off,
Keep the
and-
youngling slayer away from the new child.
Is that new?
No, I have had it since last fall.
We last left Andor and his band of merry men/women quickly after, or shortly after, they successfully robbed the Imperial garrison of
Partially
their-
successfully.
I mean, the mission was a success. They knew people would
was.
die.
Yes.
Everyone, basically.
But Andor's gone his own way, and Vel has gone her own way. And what's the other girl's name?
Cinta.
And Cinta was left on the planet with a presumed mode of escape. So,
Yeah, I'll say.
so we get to the next episode, and it actually starts off with what's that guy's name? The Imperial officer dude.
Seal Khan
Yeah, Cyril Karn.
gets a new job
And
as an
his,
accountant.
His mom is just ripping him a new one again. His mom sounds like a terrible person. I would not enjoy her as my mother.
I mean, can
very
you blame
judgy.
her?
Very judgy.
He's kind of a
He is kind of a
waste
dick.
of space at the time.
Yes, that's understandable.
He's very obsessive. He might have OCD.
He has something. That boy is not right in the head.
Nope.
Overall, episode 7, they even said was more like a bridge episode,
Oh.
which I felt it definitely was. It didn't have like it was really tethered to like a few more episodes as an arc. And 8 really felt more of the same way. It seems like it's more so just telling us a story rather than saying, all right, we've got 3-episode arc here, 3-episode arc here. You know what I mean? But these last 2 episodes, I think we can just talk about them as a whole. We're only going to try to make this about 20-25 minutes. So let's just try to discuss it as a whole. Maybe we can talk about different story points. So let's just discuss what's happening with Andor to start, right?
He's just a tourist.
Well, not yet. At this
Oh,
point, at the
darn.
beginning, all we see of Andor is he's pretty much trying to say he tries to get his mom, and say, "Hey, I got enough money. Let's run away together. We can just avoid this life of the Empire infringing on everything that we do, and let's just go live a life of peace." Right?
She does a 180. I was like, she seems a little sus. She like,
Yep.
Well, I was worried that she might turn him in.
I agree.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
agree. That's what I was worried about as well.
And I think that might have been what they were hinting at first. They kind of wanted you to think that. But we find out that she actually has been so inspired by somebody attacking the rebellion, or somebody attacking the Empire, and succeeding and seeing that they have a chink in their armor, that she decides to join a rebellion on that planet.
I did like that because
Yeah.
it was like, he's like, it was me, even though I got paid a lot of money for it.
I don't know why he didn't tell her it was him.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't really have any obligation to not tell, but
Well,
then it
she-
would have been like, oh, that's where you got the money from. Oh, you don't actually care. You
Yeah.
just did it for yourself.
Yeah.
I
And-
don't know if I necessarily agree with that because she was almost making it sound like it was like a bad way that they rebelled, like a bad method of, rebelling against the Empire. That's what it kind of seemed like.
I didn't get that
Me
vibe.
neither.
I was like, did you hear about what happened in the news?
No, she
It-
was like excited about it. It was like a spark that gave people confidence to stand up for themselves.
Yeah, because then she said, I don't normally go to this area of town, but now I'm like going there because I want to make
Yeah.
a stand. She said something like that.
Yeah, she was like, it was inspiring.
Mhm.
And that's why he's like, it was just a robbery. It wasn't like some kind of rebellion. All it was just getting money. So
Yeah.
How about those confusing flashbacks? They were confusing to me because I was like, all
I'm
right.
trying to remember flashbacks.
So the flashback was of his dad, adopted dad, in
Oh
the
yeah, it was confusing.
which is
about
where
that, too.
our so it would flash to him, and then it was his younger self, but then it would randomly be his current self in the flashback. I was kind of like, all right, what are you trying to symbolize that he's like a kid when this happens, but yet he's still imagining it in the moment, not that it's just a flashback, but that he's currently reliving it.
Yeah, it's like in um, what's that Christmas movie with the
Christmas Carol
yeah, A Christmas Carol where he's like watching himself.
that is going to be shown at our alma mater. Cheers.
Is it
Here.
what is it? A play?
What do you
This
think? It is?
this season, if
They've-
you want to go, Jake,
They've done. Oh, we should make it a date, John.
they do that like every 5
Yeah, they
years.
Like a cycle.
Like 4 years.
Those plays, man. Remember when Mitch was in it? Oh, he was in A Christmas Carol, wasn't he?
Wasn't that like
I
freshman
think
year?
so.
No, it was
Wasn't
like
he
it
that
was
Tiny
like
Tim's dad?
Junior year. I think he was Tiny Tim, actually.
No. Tiny Tim was okay.
I'm just kidding because he's small.
All our fans and
He
listeners
doesn't-
know that.
Mitch doesn't even watch it. We're just making fun at him anyways. I'll have to tell him to watch this week's episode.
He gets shouted out.
But anyways, yeah, I don't know. The flashbacks are cool though, just to see how like the clones just were those stormtroopers at that point or clones in stormtrooper armor?
They were
We're
clones. Yeah, because it was like right away.
Yeah. So they turn and kill his dad, and then they just decide to hang him,
Yeah, that was wild,
and he didn't even do anything.
right?
I think. See, if I'm Andor, it's just interesting about his character. You'd think that the position he's been in, with all these things that has happened to his family on his home planet, to his adopted dad being killed, and just seeing the oppression firsthand, and then being forced into work in the Empire, like, you'd think he'd be all full board going into, yeah, I'm going to fight for this rebellion. Which we see eventually he does. But I think he's just such a bitter person, an angry person. He just has accepted there's no fighting the Empire. You know? You can't fight them. They're too powerful. Why even bother? I'm just going to try to live my life and avoid them. And I think that's what we get to eventually. So he even tries to talk to Bix, who has
Shuts
turned
him down.
has turned him down because ever since the stuff that he did happened, it's turned into like an imperial
Lockdown.
Yeah, and everyone blames him for it. So she doesn't want to go off with him. She's mad at him. And
No,
he decides go ahead.
But I also thought she was kind of having the same thoughts as his mom, and like there's people out there actually fighting the Empire, and you're out here trying to ditch town. And he's like,
Yeah,
maybe I'm thinking things
No, she definitely was judging him for just running and hiding
when
instead of trying to fix things.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's a character flaw of his. And I think that's a good thing to see because we know who he eventually becomes, and he's going to be growing. And we see that, I think, really well throughout this show. And it's taken more time than you'd expect, but what it does is it shows the actual difficulty with which these things are happening to him and how it's really forcing him to look at who he is eventually. I think that this might be the straw that we see it later on as he goes on vacation to this like cruise paradise planet.
What was it called again?
I don't remember.
Tahiti?
Tahani, I think is right. But he goes to Tahiti pretty much. And he's chilling.
Niamos.
Having this lavish life. Sleeping with some girl who I believe is of no consequence, right?
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like they knew each other, maybe.
I think it was just trying to show that he'd been there a while.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
That
think they're
makes
just trying to
sense.
show that some time has passed. The familiarity they had with each other wasn't like the first time they hung out.
That's fair.
But he puts all his money above the shower head, so that is definitely going to show to him trying to get back there at some point, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he's got to decide to just leave that behind and join the rebellion.
Yeah, maybe he can't go back. But I think our next episode, anyways. So he's just walking around the beach, literally minding his own business, doing
This
nothing.
scene was it was kind of cringy. Not
Yeah.
gonna lie. I don't know. It's just like, in his acting, you could tell he was having a tough time acting with the invisible robot he was talking to.
Sure. You don't think they
It
had like
just-
a robot on a head? Because in Rogue One,
I don't know.
In Rogue One, there's a dude that had this like long
Yeah.
head thing on top. So
I don't know. It seems like maybe that was one of the earlier scenes they shot just because I don't know, he felt kind of uncomfortable, kind of like at the first shot at the club
Mm-hmm.
where he just didn't seem like he had his feet yet in reacting in this world, but he was just like, I'm a tourist. I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. It just was weird to me. The
But
feelings
he eventually just gets arrested and sees that the Empire
by
is
Sam Witwer.
yeah, by Sam Witwer, no less, as that shore trooper, and finds out that he's going to prison for 6 years for
It
doing
used to be
nothing.
like two. It used to be 6 months
They said it used to be a 6 month period, but because of the new act that the Emperor has pushed out, that,
because of Andor,
that because of him and what he did in robbing uh,
the payroll.
the payroll, that now everyone's going to be suffering. Which I really like seeing that. I mean, we see that Luthen and Mon Mothma have the conversation where she's like, because of what you've done, people are going to suffer all over the galaxy. And he's like, good, that's the plan.
Yep. So, because if you don't do anything, people are going to suffer. So you might as well do something.
Beat it
Which
up.
I think I would probably line up more than that with Luthen.
Oh,
than Mothma.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Like-
and I think Mon Mothma is going to come around
Yep.
eventually. But Luthen's
She's going to
absolutely
sacrifice
right.
a bunch of
If-
Bothans. Like,
if you want
As long as
people
they're
to
not
fight
human.
against the Empire, you have to make sure that people know the Empire is evil and it's affecting their lives. Like something I've always said about politics, which you may judge me for this.
I'm going to turn my camera off for when people clip this.
I vote and I stay engaged as to like what's happening, but when someone gets elected that I wouldn't have voted for, or when any kind of thing happens that people are just always arguing about and whining about, I'm like, look, as far as it goes and how much our lives are actually affected by these things people say, nothing really changes. It's just a different face and a different person doing the same stuff, you know? And I feel like with the Empire and the Republic, as it goes from Republic to Empire, people probably just feel the same way. Like, nothing has really changed. It's just it's one person in charge of everything. Yeah, sure, maybe so-and-so over there has life hard, but life's not any harder for me. Life's fine for me, right? And I feel like Luthen is saying, no, we need to make life suck for everybody, so everyone hates the Empire so that we can get some people to join our cause. And I think that's really smart.
I mean, most people won't fight until you push them into the corner.
Yep, exactly. Most people say, it's not that bad. We can deal with this. It's not that bad. At least there's more order in the galaxy, right? I honestly, there's a lot of people that feel that way.
Yep.
In the galaxy. So it makes really good sense what Luthen's done. And I think it's kind of pushing Andor to realize the same thing. Geez, I'm going to prison for 6 years for doing nothing. Imagine what's happening to everybody else. And as he goes to prison now and is forced into this, if you're not perfect, you get electrocuted kind of thing, it's going to kind of make him realize, yeah, this needs to end. So hopefully this is the straw on the camel's back that makes him finally wake up and realize something needs to be done. Now, how's he going to get out of prison? So, do you guys want to go into the whole prison stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
I mean, it's the episode.
Yeah. So, everything that happens in the prison, we get to see Andy Serkis and how he runs this, like, well-oiled machine of making sure that everyone has to... It's interesting. All these different levels, they compete at building something. Did you guys ever figure out what they were building?
I wonder if it's like TIE fighter engines.
Yeah, I couldn't really tell what was
That
going on.
would make sense.
Because it looks like an engine, I would think.
Or a piece to it, or
Yeah.
a component of the engine.
And it might be something where they don't even know what they're building, because if it's like a secret project or something, you want anyone to know. Like kind of like with the atom bomb, Manhattan Project. Everyone built like a different part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But anyways, as we go into the episode, you just see like this rigorous, hey, we don't even need guns, because if you don't perform and you don't do exactly what we want, you're getting electrocuted to death or near death. And they've got the different levels of how they're getting shocked. Which, when I first saw those guys with those goofy rubber boots on, I was like, that is a stupid
They're
thing.
literally snowboard boots.
I know.
Literally snowboarding boots.
They actually grabbed snowboarding boots and put them on these Imperial officers' shoes. I was like, couldn't you have just worn like rubber dress shoes? Like the boots that they wear look like they're made of rubber anyways.
Yep.
I'm sure they're leather actually, but those boots are goofy looking. I
You know what
guess
the
it's a
whole
small
episode
thing.
made me think of
What's that?
with the setting and everything?
Willy Wonka.
No, what was the
Bu- bu-
man? Now the name just skipped me. John. The show that just came out where everybody competes for money and getting
Suicide
time.
Squad.
No.
No.
Uh,
Why did I say that?
Squid Games.
Squid
Yeah,
Game.
the S. The S. That's why I said that.
Like Suicide Squad. But
How
yeah,
did it remind you of Squid Games?
Squid Games. Because I was like, oh, you got all these like,
Yeah,
know,
they're competing for sentences, right?
yep, sentences, and everybody's just getting tortured to death.
Are they getting shorter sentences based on their performance?
No, they just get money if they get their debt paid off if they.
Oh no, I have seen Squid Game. I'm talking about in this show.
Oh no,
Okay.
I don't know.
I just thought they were competing.
They
for,
get
like,
food. No, they get food.
they
Yeah,
got
yeah,
food.
yeah.
They're like they put flavor in the paste. It's like,
Oh, yep.
yeah. But essentially, he's been there for what, like 30 days? I think is what we get to at one point.
But yeah, because I forgot we watched it together.
Yeah.
It's like we've talked about this,
And
but we didn't do a stream.
We did the math, subtracted, and found out that the amount of days he was there was 30 days. So he's been there a month. So time is progressing the show pretty quickly. Now, one thing I think to point forward to the future is he sees these two people on different levels in the tunnels communicating with sign language to each other. So I'm imagining that these guys are planning some kind of escape, and Andor's going to want to get in on it. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what's happening. So, do you think he will escape, or do you think that the rebellion's going to rescue him, or do you think that Cyril Karn is going to find him?
Ooh, yeah. I guess he could kind of backdoor into something and figure out. But why would he save? He wouldn't save
I don't think
Andor.
he would save him. I think that the Empire has pretty much said, "We don't want to talk to you again. Stop being a problem." He says, "Fine, I'm going to take care of this myself." And then he goes and tries to get Andor and actually like bring him forward to the Empire to kind of show off what I did, take me in.
Yeah, I hope they follow that arc and don't make him a good guy. I think that'll be
He
kind
will
of
not
a
be a
waste.
good guy. I think it's already pretty clear that he's not turning that way.
People have come back from worse.
Yeah, I just think that they've kind of shown that he loves the Empire. Unless he realizes that it's evil, but I mean they have done him dirty, despite all the hard work he's put in. Maybe he could. I wouldn't be shocked either way.
Because the chick just kind of writes him off when he's actually kind of useful.
Yeah, he's even said, "I can help you." But I actually
He's an
thought that she was-
accountant.
Yeah,
He gives me accountant vibes.
he
I
gives me
relate to
accountant.
him.
So you're saying extremely boring and monotonous.
Wow, well dressed.
very, very well dressed. Has money to afford things.
Can always go back to Mama if he needs to.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I thought that didn't go the way I expected with Cyril Karn. I thought he was going to be joining up with what's her face actually.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna co-opt him a little more than
Yeah,
just be
me
like,
too.
forget everything you saw here. If you come here again, threat.
Yeah, I thought that he was probably more useful, but she was just frustrated. Like he wore a dark cloak about Luthen. Like she identifies who Luthen is, but he had absolutely no details about him. So she just kind of.
I mean,
himself as useless.
he really stressed the voice, so I feel like that could come up.
He would
again.
recognize it, like if he heard a transmission or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could recognize it if I hear it.
Especially since that Luthen's right under their nose.
Well, that and they also have caught Bix communicating with Luthen, and if there's some recording histories or something like that, he may be able to hear.
Call history.
Yeah,
She didn't call in incognito mode.
yeah, it's possible. It's possible.
How easy
And
jam?
then the Princess Leia shut off the communication.
That's not Leia.
It's not.
Leia.
Yeah. Honestly, when
It's
she was
definitely Leia.
walking through Coruscant, I was like, man, that girl looks like Leia.
Yep. Because they show it from like the side, and then they show the face, and you're like, probably not.
Her face is a little more built out,
Yeah,
but it's like it's got the same core.
it does.
Features.
It's weird that they chose someone that looked like her. That's not her.
And then they
And
named
they
her.
called her Clea.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It seems like It's
She's
silly.
too old as well. She should only be like 15.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's like a big part of the rebellion right now. I mean, I don't know. Does that make sense? She's a senator
She is a senator, you're
at
right.
this
So it
point.
wouldn't make sense, no.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense for her to be like
Unless Leia had a twin.
she does. Its name is Luke.
Yeah.
Luca? Kluka?
Kluka. Kluke.
Luke and Kluke.
So I'm
Hey.
wondering.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm
Dan.
wondering if she will, like, around the time when the, quote unquote prison break or what, whatever happens, if she will either get herself smuggled into jail or,
Who,
somehow.
Clea?
Yeah.
Because she's got to kill him.
Yep.
They're still trying to kill Andor.
Mm-hmm.
Vela.
Well, Vel and Cinta are. Clea's not.
Cinta's still on
Cinta's
Premor.
watching on Premor, and Vel is going to try to find Andor to kill him. So you're saying you wonder if Vel's going to get into the prison?
Get
No,
in
not
the
Premor.
or, like,
Barracks.
somehow finds out about the plan and
Here's what's going to happen. You've got Vel looking for Andor. You've got
Luthen maybe even looking for Andor.
Luthen.
Well,
Probably,
no.
no, Luthen kind
He's
of.
contracted Vel.
Yeah. So you got Vel looking for Andor. You've got ISB lady looking for Andor, and you've got Cyril Karn looking for Andor.
Yep.
One of or multiple of those three groups are going to find him in that prison. I wouldn't be surprised if 2 or 3 of them are all finding him around the same time, and one is trying to kill him, one's trying to get him out of the prison, and one's trying to like interrogate him. And there's like a lot of drama going around as that's happening. I don't know.
Yep.
We haven't even we skipped the episode that Yularen was in, didn't we?
We haven't talked about the ISB stuff yet. Because remember, I'm not talking about time, going by like topic by topic. Kind of.
Okay.
But I guess that would be the next thing to discuss. So everything happening with the ISB during this time. Admiral Yularen comes in episode 7. And I was kind of hoping we get Tom Kane. Even though I don't think he looks anything like him. But it was interesting to see how his character played out. Because in Clone Wars, he's a really great guy that clearly cares about like the well-being of people, mostly just like running the military, I think.
Does he though?
I guess you don't really see it. He mostly just is a military strategist.
He always questions the Jedi. He's always talks about how he's always with Anakin and Ahsoka. So
Yeah.
of course he hates the Jedi.
Yeah, I suppose. But when you get to the book of the Thrawn trilogy, he seems like an ally of Thrawn. So kind of like a morally strong person that just is part of a corrupt organization.
Yeah.
But when you get to Andor, he definitely is a big supporter of the Empire. But he was as well in the Thrawn books as well.
There's no doubt he wants order. He wants these little skirmishes to just stop and get in line.
Yeah. I think it's more so like, I don't care about the politics of things. I have a job to do and I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So.
Also, fun fact, which this is maybe it solely depends on how the hierarchy works. In Clone Wars, he's an admiral.
Yeah.
Now he's a colonel, which is below an admiral.
It is in the real world, but in Star Wars, I don't believe it is. And an admiral is a naval thing.
Correct.
Colonel is
which
not
it's
naval.
still, at least in the military
it's probably
ranking,
more so lateral.
So I looked it up in the military ranking, and it is lesser by 1 rank.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, let's see if we can find some Star Wars military. And it might be different because he's in the ISB now, which is kind of a like Homeland Security.
Yeah, and rankings.
So maybe
it's
they
a
have
much
different
smaller
rankings.
organization as well.
But it would be kind of interesting if the Empire did Yularen dirty and was like, I don't know, you were with the... But he was at the seat with Vader at the Death Star.
Yeah, and he also is... I don't think they're doing him dirty at all. I just think he's the head of the ISB. I think that's a pretty good position.
I mean, John, in the books, he has a lot more knowledge about things than Thrawn does. Like, overall knowledge, he trumps Thrawn.
Oh,
like,
yeah. And he talks with the Emperor on a daily basis. I mean, he's pretty much in charge of the CIA of the Empire.
Yep.
It's a little bit more than being an admiral of a fleet.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Um, but the ISB pretty much does exactly what the rebellion wants, which is to tighten up their fist around the systems and force a stronger rebellion.
The
And
tighter you grip your fist, the
the
more
more
star
star
systems
systems
will slip through
through
your
your
fingers.
Yep. Always can count on John for the poorly accented British quotes
What?
in Star Wars.
That was when she was talking in her British accent that
I
she
know.
did for just that scene.
For that one scene. Whenever she did her formal conversations, that's what she did. But anyways, the ISB really decides to tighten up and to really bring the hammer down to kind of show the strength and might of the Empire. But it's going to blow up in their face, and I think that's kind of what the show is trying to show. I think it does a pretty good job of that.
In the form of the Death Star. Wow.
Well, the Death Star is eventually the final weapon they use for that. But just getting rid of senators, getting rid of the Senate in general, and just trying to show, yeah, you do anything we don't like, we're going to really punish you for it.
Yeah.
It's going to be 6 years in prison for resisting arrest. Right? Isn't that
Resisting a very salty, a very...
Isn't that essentially what he went to prison for?
Yeah.
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 And they probably threw in like fleeing and back talking and
Yeah, like it was like suspicion of plotting against the Empire or something like
yeah.
that. It's like you were
Which,
literally
I
arrested
mean-
for suspicion.
They task failed successfully, kind of.
Yeah,
Because he did.
exactly. So
Stop booing me. I'm right.
I wasn't booing you.
No, I'm referencing the meme.
Oh yeah.
Like the Empire was right
Yeah.
for arresting him, but they just didn't know it.
Anything else? Oh, the scene where Admiral Yularen is trying to find out what to do. I keep forgetting that director's name, the blonde girl.
Supervisor Shawarma.
Anyways, she kind of argues her case, saying that the other director is petty and just caring about his career, where she is willing to go to whatever means to make sure that she actually solves the problem at hand. And Yularen, as well as the other person that's in charge of them, pretty much agree, you're doing things the way that they should be done. And we shouldn't be fighting amongst ourselves for power. We should be trying to solve these problems. It's just giving her access to do whatever she needs to do.
I mean, more than that, she actually she actually had like records to point to all the different, spider webs.
Mm-hmm.
That's what really swayed him. He's like, oh yeah, you have records?
And they connected, like hard evidence. And they connected things to that one person that they're trying to find out who he could be,
Luthen.
Yeah.
Also, how about when Yularen, she was explaining her thing to Yularen, and I just couldn't help but think he was playing like Flappy Birds or something on his computer because he's just like looking down the whole time.
Yeah. Just disinterested.
I want someone to make a cut of Flappy Birds or like Tetris on
I'm
his...
sure you could do that.
It would be... Maybe I should be that one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I should do it.
Go viral. You get us a ton of views on our channel all of a sudden. Make sure you post
Your channel? How about my own
Let's
YouTube
just
channel?
combine them together, John. Come on. All right. Any other comments before we shut this down? Overall, I've enjoyed it. The last 2 episodes, if we put them together, I'd say 7.5, 8-ish, somewhere in there. Good, not great. Good story progression.
C-.
Yeah, I'd say C+. It's been interesting. I love the show. I think that it's telling one of the most interesting stories we've seen in Star Wars, and that's what I like about it. We have 2 totally different shows we've seen in the last week. You've got Tales of the Jedi and Andor. Okay? One of them feels like the Star Wars we've had in the past, and one of them tells a very good, interesting story happening in the universe of Star Wars. If we're going to have so many different things coming out in Star Wars, I like the diversity. I don't want everything to be exactly the same. And I've really liked Andor for what it is. I think it's been interesting. I think it's been good. I think it's an interesting story that I'm excited to see more of. It's very different, but I like different. I think that there's a lot of different ways to do things. And as long as it tells a good story and it's interesting to me and I enjoy watching it, if it's in the Star Wars universe, I'm cool with it. So I like it.
I liked Saw Gerrera making an appearance.
Oh, yeah. That was a good scene.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically just like, no.
I'm not working. And it kind of points to what we see later is he's not working with anybody. So
Yep.
He wants to do things his own way. Yeah, I
He
did like that,
is.
actually. He did a good job. But yeah, well, I'm sure there's details we missed, but you guys all watch the show. But overall, I'd say I enjoy it. I'm continuing to enjoy it. I'm looking forward to seeing how the show crescendos at the end and really climaxes. But it's good. I hope he gets out of prison next episode. It should have happened the last episode, in my
I
opinion.
mean, we know that he's going to stay in the prison for the next 6 years, so he's safe from the Death Star attack. So
Would have been the safest place for him to be, probably.
he's fine.
That old man in this prison is definitely going to die, though.
Oh yeah.
He's not going to make it.
Also, I just noticed that there were no women in the prison. It was. Do you think they split them up by?
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
think
Probably
so.
for a reason. Yeah.
There.
Oh, and that one guy kills himself because he's just sick of
Yep.
it.
Jumps off second floor.
Yeah, he just says, "Yeah, I'm ready to die." It's nuts.
Can't blame the man.
No.
It didn't seem very gruesome at all. It seemed
I
pretty
mean,
easy.
You're just getting electrocuted.
Yeah, but he didn't like. He just stepped, flop.
No, when you get a electrical charge strong enough, that's what would happen. It's not a very long death. It's like getting struck by lightning.
But you survive. People survive that.
Well, yeah, but some people die from it too. If you die from it, you're dead, like immediately. Your heart stops. Your brain fries.
From a math teacher. If you die from it, you're dead.
No, like I'm saying, like it's not like this like slow, painful death. You go to the hospital and then you die of electrocution. When you get zapped, you're dead.
Well, one of the first tests in the electric chair, man, that was brutal.
Oh, he just like got shocked for like 3 hours because
Yeah,
of charge.
At least that's how they. David, did you play that part in Red Dead?
Nope.
It's the
Reminds
guy
me of
who
one
invented
house.
the electric chair, and he's like, all right, this is gonna be so super humane and quick, and then he's just like, and then eventually he's trying to fix it and stuff, and then he gets shocked, and then he dies too, a slow, painful death.
Wasn't it a dentist that invented it?
Wouldn't surprise me.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. All right,
Terrible.
cool. Well, this has been the Rogue Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed our little review. Short episode. We'll be back Thursday night, right, guys?
Maybe.
We gotta commit so we can just get it done. Either Wednesday night or Thursday. I'm free both nights.
If
So-
it's good.
Thursday night. Not
Okay.
Wednesday.
All right, Thursday night. John, if you don't join us, it's fine. It'll just be me and David and CJ. Whatever. We'll deal with it. But join us. All right, thank you guys so much.
Join me.
May the force be with you. Always.